Good morning, YouTube. We are out here working on the boat this fine morning. I've got my friend Jack here giving me a hand with some of the work that is below the water line. So let me just go ahead and bring you guys up to speed because I'm not gonna lie to you, I've gotten a little ahead of myself. This past weekend when I was laying down the floors and putting the floors down completely, as you guys can see in there, they are completely cabosil'd in there and they are screwed down and they're not coming back up. So let me bring you guys up to speed real quick. All right, guys, so like I said, over the weekend, I was able to get the port side and the starboard front floorboards in there. We went ahead and prepped all of the workspace, ground down both of the edges. Let me climb over here. So you guys can see, went through, ground up the top side, ground up the bottom side, all the way through around the boat, all the way down to the transom on both sides there. Then came up behind it, mixed up a hot batch of cabosil, and went in, and you guys can see where I've laid it down all on the pedestal and then underneath here. So I just basically took a stick, globbed it all up. You need a rag, bro?
Yeah, rag and resin cup.
1 second, guys. So as I was saying, just mixed up the cabosil on my little mixing stick. I drug it underneath this edge, this fiberglass edge here where the existing floor was. And then once that was all smeared down, I took a putty tool and then drug it all the way down, and then same thing on the actual floorboard itself. You can see these lines that I drew here, so that way I knew where I was applying the cabosil and not, you know, applying a ton of it out here on the surface where it'll do absolutely nothing for us. So that's all in there, and then I went ahead and fiberglass that first lip in. I have to do the lip over here. You guys can see all the cabosil wiped in it. It is looking real good. They are in there solid. And now Jack was kind enough to give me a hand with all of this because this is all below the water line back here in the transom, and you know, I didn't want to screw this up and sink my boat once I put foam back in there and the whole 9 yards. So anyways, guys, this is me bringing you up to speed. I want to apologize. When I was laying these floorboards down, I was in and out of the boat. My hands were messy, in and out of gloves, moving stuff around, so I didn't even bother filming with it. I understand now when I watch videos online of guys doing this work why they obviously always have a cameraman, because it is really nasty work at the end of the day. And now I understand why boats are so expensive, because everything is labor. Everything. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna let him layer this glass up here, do his thing, and I'll check in with you guys in a couple minutes. All right, guys, stepping in the boat, we're gonna check out this repair work down in here that Jack did. It looks awesome. We were able to load this guy up with some cabosil. First, we obviously dished it all out, and we let it sit for about 2 weeks or so. I'd come in here every day and spray acetone down on it, and I used up a whole bottle of acetone, and then we switched to denatured alcohol and just sprayed it and sprayed it and sprayed it until we could draw all the moisture that was, you know, existing on those pieces of wood there, and it came out great. Then went back behind it, layered some cabosil down, and then we did some 20 ounce and then chop mat, 20 ounce, chop mat, 20 ounce, and then one last layer of chop mat on there. As you guys can see, it came out real good. He's got it tabbed into the bottom there, and it comes all the way up to the transom. So that is squared away, ready to rock and roll. Also, you guys can see here, I've got the fuel tank board in place. I had to do a little trimming after getting these floors in place. It was kind of tight up here in this area right here, and I didn't really want to force it into spots, so I trimmed it down, and I got it fitting up real nice here, so that way I can lift it in and out. Obviously, when I go to build the tank, I want to be able to take it in and out just to do fitting and stuff. So that's squared away, that's rock and rolling. And then lastly, we've got that board over there. The bottom of it has been wet out with epoxy resin and then chased with some fiberglass, and then that pedestal, that step there, is going to be sitting underneath the lip right here in the hole of the boat, and then obviously be sitting on this pedestal here, and it'll get, you know, cabosil just like we did with these. Cabosil on the bottom, cabosil on the side, and then cabosil up underneath. You might be able to see, take this board out. Might be able to see, see some of the cabosil in there. It'll get wiped all the way down that section on this lip right here, and then it'll get put on that board also, both sides, obviously the back lip, and it just slides right in and drops into place. And that little guy on the back side there, that little pedestal right there for the inside of the hole, just holds it up in place. That way I'm not relying on it just sitting on the inside of the hole right here, because that's where the factory floorboard butts up against. So little bit of progress. We're getting there. It's definitely taking a bit longer than I anticipated, but we're getting there one step at a time. So I've got that all ready to rock and roll, and then that smaller board right there, that will be sitting in here acting as a lip, because I have this board right here that I cut. I know, don't judge me, it should be out of a full piece, but I kind of messed up. So this guy sits right here in this place, obviously gets dropped down in there, and then I'll be using that board to basically sit like this. It'll sit under there about 3 inches, and then it'll sit under this board about 3 inches, and it's the whole width from here to here, you know, 18 to 19 inches. So that way there's just a secondary like landing platform for this board to sit on, because again, as you can see how this board fits, it'll just sag down. So I want to put that little pedestal there underneath it to hold it up between the two boards, and that'll really be that. We are just about done. So all I was waiting on doing that repair work in order to get that board in. But what I might end up doing before I go to cabosil them in completely, I may end up purchasing foam, starting to drill my 2-inch holes. I'll probably do 4 or 5 of them, you know, 1 here in the middle somewhere, and then 2 towards the rear, and start pouring foam, letting the foam, you know, ride down and expand all the way up, and then work my way down to ensure that we're getting good coverage in the inside of the floorboard there. So because I want the foam to come all the way up to the base of this board. It not only acts as flotation, but it also acts as structural support in this boat. So anyways, guys, that is about that as far as this goes. When I get back up here, I have to go run on a mobile job real quick, but when I get back up here, I will fill you guys in on getting that board fitted up, so that way you guys can see it fitted up in its final form. And then yeah, that's really it. Well guys, it's been about 2 days since I've updated this video. That mobile job that I was regarding in the last clip came to fruition, and then I ended up landing another mobile job doing a stairwell repair and landing repair. So I've got some material here. I'm going to be handling that tomorrow, and hopefully that will give me some funds to go ahead and purchase the foam, which will, you know, speed this process up even more. But I want to bring you guys up to speed real quick. I know I've showed you everything up here already, including the gas tank board, but this board right here was the board that was sitting on the little stand that was over there when I showed you guys in the last clip. I've got the pedestal all glassed in, fastened down. I've filled up the fastener holes with resin, glassed them over. If you look real close, you can see some of the runs from where I actually laid all the resin on it. So I'm gonna have to sand that stuff down when it's time to glass this over. But this board right here is solid. Stand all over it, jump up and down on it. I mean, everything. It is solid. Now I'll show you this board. This one doesn't have a pedestal, and I know. Don't judge my cut. It's embarrassing, okay? But I won't lie to you. If I didn't have that cut there, it would be a massive headache getting that board in and out the way that I've built this, because I wanted to keep the existing, you know, fiberglass tab from the factory to have something to work off of, so that way I can have something to glass to and obviously fasten to and cabosil to. So anyways, if you listen real close when I step on this board, it kind of rocks a little bit. It's doing the same thing that this board is doing. It's actually wedged up into the corner of the actual hole, into that little lip, again, where the factory floorboard was. But the pedestal is not under this one. And I also have to do a little bit of grinding. You can see it's kind of standing up here. You stand on it, you see it getting pushed down. I just need to knock down a little bit of that cabosil that's been built up right here. And then same thing what's on the bulkhead block that's right here. I got to grind that down just a little bit more, and I think this guy will sit flush. But the last piece to the puzzle is getting its pedestal to sit up on the hole on this far side, and then from there I can fiberglass that guy and it'll be ready to get dropped in. I'll probably get the foam ordered, obviously, and start foaming down like I talked about trying to make sure that I can get it to rise all the way up to the bottom of the board. And then once I know that this section's good, I can go ahead and start getting that guy fastened in there with some cabosil and then glassing it in. I'll show you guys up here real quick too before I wrap the video up. I got a few more things. I'm sorry, bear with me here. This is all fiberglassed in right here, this little lip. I got that knocked out shortly after we did that first clip there. I went ahead and just threw some chop mat on there and resined it up. I've got to feather that corner just a bit more, and I've got to feather that corner. And then what I'm going to be doing is making a nice radius on these stringers, so when I do go to glass the entire floorboard in, I can wrap cloth down and around the edges. I can bring it down halfway or so, and then these corners, they'll need to be tabbed in. I just have cabosil in them right now. I don't have any glass. Each board has been glassed separately, but I'll go ahead and tab in the corners probably with some 10 ounce, and same thing back here in the bulkhead to the bilge. So this area right here, it's got cabosil. Again, both of them have been glassed separately, but I'll tab it in the corner, both sides, and then where the tank goes, all of that also needs tabbing in. So I'll get those sections tabbed up, and yeah, that's really it, guys. It's gonna be straightforward, getting that glass work done. I'll have to do some more glass work down here at the bottom of the bulkhead where it meets the original floor, or the original hole, and that's really it, guys. That's really it. We've definitely made some good progress, and having the floors in the boat is such a good feeling. You know, being able to walk around up here, standing at the helm, if the boat cover wasn't on, you know, obviously you'd be able to see, like, you actually feel like you're back in a boat again, rather than being all the way down here working inside of the hole. It was just, it's just one of those things that gets to you mentally. You're like, oh my God, I'm tired of seeing it like this. And then seeing it with floors is a real good feeling. But okay, I'm talking a lot. I'm sorry that I run my mouth so much in these videos, but I want to document this stuff. I want to show you guys this stuff, so that way, you know, I can obviously have some content to post up, and I want to show you guys, you know, the restoration of my boat. I think this is freaking awesome. Something brand new to me, something totally different, totally new, and yeah. All right, let me shut up. Well, if you made it this far, I want to thank you for watching the video. I know I talk a lot, but I want to just, you know, be sure that I'm bringing you guys along and at least filling you in on the updates, even if I don't film it. And I'm going to try to be better about bringing my spare iPhone, or my old iPhone, and actually filming it with my tripod. That's the whole reason I bought this freaking tripod. And I would use my nice DSLR, but it requires so much work to transfer that stuff to a computer and then to edit it all, when I can just do all the editing from my iPhone, and I can, you know, do all my airdrops and all that jazz. But that's besides the point. I just want to say I'm sorry that I just talk instead of actually doing work. But that is that, guys. Between the Formula and the Comanche, I'll have, you know, a few good uploads for you guys. Hopefully we can get that Comanche going when the fuel pump gets in, and we can run that thing on its own fuel. And then hopefully after this stairwell job, I can get foam on order, get the foam underneath the front side of the boat, and then we can start getting serious about glassing the rest of the floor in. And from there on out, it's literally finishing the glass work on the floor, and then we can put the freaking motor in, because I'm tired of staring at this thing. I'm tired of moving it all around my shop. I've got to attach the bell housing to it still, and that's really it that I have to do. Little odds and ends. I got to put the crank pulley bolt back in there, and get a new oil dipstick. But other than that, that's ready to go get dropped in, and from there we'll be doing bellows, we'll be doing a gimbal bearing, and yeah, plumbing for the fuel tank, and then building out a fuel tank, getting that guy replaced. And yeah, that's really it, guys. We're starting to get into the home stretch. Once that stuff is said and done, it's literally down to my out drive, whether I'm going to try to repair and save this one that I've got here, and I don't know I don't know if I'm gonna do that. It's either doing that, repairing that guy, or at least just throwing a new impeller in it and soaking down the bearings and the actual ring and pinion, or whatever you want to call it, the differential of the boat, getting that cleaned up, knocking all that rust flake and stuff off of it from the moisture sitting inside of the outdrive / bellow when the boat was sitting. But hopefully that will be our final major piece or major component to the boat, getting that squared away, and then we can take it on its first sea trial. And then from there, it's just doing interior stuff. And that's kind of boring, but it'll be nice to have seats in it and have a sun deck and an engine cover and all of that stuff. So anyways, guys, I'm sorry. I know I'm talking a lot, but thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. I will see you guys in the next upload. Have a good one. Later.
I'm